Welcome back to the deep dive. So if you've ever felt stuck, really convinced that if you just push a little bit harder, you'll break through. Well, today we are tearing that idea apart.
You really are.
We're not talking about grinding longer or chasing some new shiny object. We're diving into a real paradox of achievement. When does persistence, that thing we all admire, actually curdle into just self-defeating stubbornness?
And that is the core tension. It's what we pulled from our source material today, which is this fantastic analysis called The Wisdom of Pivoting, Success Through Strategic Deletion.
Ooh, I like that. Strategic deletion.
Right. Our mission today is really to re-examine what drives success. We're exploring this idea that, often the biggest wins don't come from adding more, but from having the courage to strategically cut away the wrong things.
So subtraction is a growth strategy.
Yeah.
That's a powerful idea. And the authors, they get right to it. They ask a kind of startling question. Why do smart, dedicated people fail, even when they are meticulously, doing the plan right?
And the answer the research points to is, well, it's not logistical, it's psychological.
Psychological. How so?
It suggests that most of us confuse genuine persistence, which is, dedication to a goal, with stubbornness. And stubbornness is just dedication to our own ego. We're more afraid of being wrong than we are of actually failing.
But wait, hang on. Failure is concrete. It costs real time, real money. Why would the ego hit of just being wrong be more powerful than that?
Because failure is external. You can spin it, right? You can blame the market. You can call it a learning experience. But admitting my core idea was flawed, I was wrong, well, that forces an internal crisis. It means you have to change how you see yourself as the person who had the perfect plan from day one. And a lot of people will just subconsciously keep going down a failing path to avoid that.
Wow. So making a strategic cut, a deletion, it's terrifying because you're deleting a part of your own identity. You're admitting the last 6 months, maybe 2 years, were pointed in the wrong direction.
Exactly. So strategic deletion, it has to start by deleting that fear of being wrong. It's about a radical commitment to reality over your own self-perception.
Okay, let's make this real. The source gives a perfect example of this. The origin story of an app whose creators had this kind of emotional courage.
Okay.
The story of bourbon.
Right, Bourbon. This was the original idea from Kevin Systrom and Mike Krieger. And Kevin had this specific interest. The original concept was, frankly, really complex. It was a location-based check-in app for planning meetups, socializing, and then sharing photos of those meetups. It was very niche, often centered around things like craft drinks, that kind of thing.
So it's like an all-in-one social utility. It sounds incredibly busy.
It was. And here's the reality check. When Bourbon launched, the authors say it was just clunky, complex, cumbersome, not really useful. The main features, the check-ins, the planning, they were barely getting used. Users just weren't engaging with the thing the founders had poured their identity into.
So how did they find the signal in all that noise? I mean, if the whole thing is failing, where do you even start looking?
Well, this is what's so fascinating. This was the pivotal clue. Users were using one specific sort of secondary feature over and over again, sharing photos.
Just the photos.
Just the photos. People like snapping a picture, throwing a filter on it, and posting it quickly. The success wasn't where the team had put all their emotional and financial investment.
That has got to be a brutal realization. You build this giant, elaborate engine, and everyone just wants to play with the tiny rearview mirror.
It's a direct confrontation with reality. And the core insight from the research is right there. Success isn't always where the effort is most intense. It's where the users find genuine delight.
So they could have just tried to fix the check-in feature, right? The whole sunk cost fallacy.
They could have, but they didn't. They looked straight at the cold, hard data of what people were actually doing.
And that led to the strategic deletion.
It was a radical cut. They deleted the check-ins, they cut the meetup planning, they deleted almost the entire original identity of the platform. All that complexity, gone. They just zeroed in on the photo sharing.
Making it fast, simple, and beautiful.
And Bourbon pivoted to become Instagram. It went from this near failure, this overly complicated app, to a global phenomenon. It just proves the point so perfectly for you, the learner. The original plan is never destiny. It's about being ruthlessly dedicated to the process of learning, not clinging to your first idea just because it was yours.
So the question isn't whether your initial idea is good. It's how fast you can ditch it when the data tells you to.
Yeah.
And that connects to the bigger picture here. The source argues the path to success is, never a straight line. The winner is the one who respects the process.
Precisely. The world is always changing, so the plan is always, by definition, imperfect. You don't need some kind of divine insight to win. You just need a superior learning mechanism.
But I think for a lot of people, the word process sounds like bureaucracy, like endless meetings and paperwork. We should probably clarify what a good process is versus a bad one.
That's a great point. A good process is a system built for speed and adaptation, not for just static compliance. The research basically defines it as a system that lets you cycle through 4 things. Fast. 1, test quickly. 2, learn quickly. 3, fix quickly.
And 4.
And 4, make wiser decisions based on all that rapid feedback.
I think most teams get that wrong. They go slow, they learn slow, and by the time they realize they need to change, the market's already gone.
That's so often the case, and this brings up a really important question the source tackles. Why do so many smart teams struggle even when they have good ideas? It identifies 3 crucial things that just collapse during execution.
Okay, let's break down those 3 hurdles. What's the first one?
First, they lack a clear vision.
Mm-hmm.
The goal has to be tangible, not vague. If you define your mission with, fluffy words like help, improve, or enhance, then anything you do can seem right, which means nothing is truly right.
If the goal is a fog, the execution is going to be a mess. So how do you make a vision tangible?
It has to paint a picture you can see immediately. The research uses this great historical example, saying, we aim for prosperity is weak. Saying a chicken in every pot, that is powerful.
Right. It's visual, it's repeatable. Everyone knows exactly what success looks like. I can draw a chicken in a pot. I can't draw enhancement.
Exactly. The second hurdle is correct priorities. This is the art of saying no. So many people think they lack effort when what they really lack is the ability to refuse good ideas. If you chase too many good things at once, you die by dispersal. You spread your effort so thin that nothing gets done well.
But isn't having a ton of good ideas a sign of an innovative team? How do you know when you're just diluting your focus?
You have to accept that potential is infinite, but your capacity to execute is not. Prioritizing isn't about finding the best idea. It's about choosing the one idea you're willing to see through to the end. The authors are really clear. If everything is a priority, then nothing is.
And the third hurdle is specific ownership.
Yes. Ideas are cheap. Accountability is priceless. The source really emphasizes this. Ideas just evaporate if they don't have a specific person's name attached. Sending an email to 5 people asking, can someone handle this, basically guarantees no one is accountable.
Right. If you walk out of a meeting without names and deadlines next to action items, those ideas are gone in 48 hours.
That ties directly into something else from the sources, Parkinson's law. Work expands to fill the time you give it. If a task is ambiguous or has no single owner, it will just stretch on forever.
Okay, so this brings us to the really actionable part of this deep dive. The source gives us 7 crucial lessons, 7 strategic cuts to help you course correct when you realize the plan is wrong.
And these 7 points are really what separate a team dedicated to learning from a team that's just dedicated to being right. Number 1 is, don't love the plan, love the goal.
The plan is the boat. The goal is the shore.
Exactly. If the boat starts sinking, you don't mourn the boat. You find a new way to get to shore. Your identity can't be tied to your first draft.
That's a tough mental shift, especially for people who pride themselves on being great planners.
It is. Which brings us to the second cut. Read the data, not emotions. User actions are the truth. What people say in a survey, that's often just the story. What they do with their time and their money, that's the real data.
That's what the bourbon guys did. They looked at usage stats, not just what people said they wanted.
Which leads to number 3, the Instagram lesson. Dare to cut things that look good, but don't create value.
Oof, that's a hard one. The
Yeah.
politically difficult one.
Yes, because you have to be willing to drop the features that were complex or impressive or took the most work simply because they don't help the user. Cut the impressive fluff.
Okay, what's fourth?
Fourth, vision must be visual or drawable. We touched on this, but it's critical. If your team can't repeat the vision identically and picture it, it's not clear enough.
Fifth is prioritize minimally, go deep. This is the focusing tool. To fight that dispersal we talked about, the authors suggest asking one question. If you could only pick one goal for the next 90 days, what is it?
That radical choice forces depth over breadth. And sixth, every task must have an owner, a person's name, and a deadline. No ambiguity.
And the last one, number 7, brings it all back to the process itself.
Yes. Seventh is, the process is alive. Always improve. After every big project or cycle, you have to sit down and ask three simple questions. What worked? What went wrong? And based on that, how will we do it differently next time? That commitment to iteration is what makes the process great.
That synthesis, it's incredibly valuable. This whole deep dive, it's about so much more than just project management. It feels like a lesson in maturity.
How so?
Well, success isn't about the brilliance of your first guess. Maturity is realizing you don't have to be right from the start, but you absolutely have to be right with the truth, with the data, with reality at every single step.
That's it, precisely. And the source material leaves us with this final, profound challenge for you to think about. Stop praying for a straight road. Instead, build a process that's strong enough to guide you through every single turn.
So if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're just running in place, the authors say the question isn't, have I tried hard enough? That's just the wrong metric.
The real questions are twofold, and they take a lot of courage. First, do you dare to look at what is truly working, even if it's the little side feature you never really cared about? And second, do you dare to cut what's making you busy but isn't actually moving you forward?
Sometimes taking that detour or cutting off the path you started on, that isn't the wrong way. Sometimes it's the only way to get it right. And realizing that, making that strategic deletion, that's really the beginning of wisdom.